One of the things that we didn't talk about with the sibling pages is the fact that you just might not need them at all. If your ancestor was an only child, there's no reason for you to have sibling pages, so you would delete them. As we look at the other pages that are going to be in the rest of each chapter for this book one, you might find that you simply don't need these pages. This spread, for example, is school and then education records. Depending on when your ancestor lived, where they lived, and how much information you found out about them, you might not have any education records for your ancestor, in which case there's no reason to keep these pages in your book sitting there blank, frustrating you because it's going to make you feel like you haven't been diligent enough with your research. It's very possible that you just won't be able to find information. So I want to again remind you that if you ever have pages in your book that you don't need, you can repurpose them or delete them. Now, in this case, if we're working on this chapter for James Kennedy Gordon, I actually don't have education materials really for him, but I didn't want to just skip the school and education records because I wanted to show you how to fill them out. So let's go ahead and fill this out as though we were working on his daughter's information because I do have a bunch of school records from her. So here we've got two photos. So I'm going to go ahead and come over here to uploads and I'm going to upload some files that we are going to use to drag into our book. Okay. You can see I'm pulling in multiple photos and these little bars and then this little water circle thing that's going to tell you whether or not things are still uploading. And what am I going to use? I'm going to pull uh, this image of her with friends at graduation. And then I'll just go ahead and pull the same image, and instead of having duplicate images, I'm going to use this image and I'm going to zoom way in so that you know which graduate is her. Blurry as the photo is. If I had a professional graduate portrait, I would much rather use that, but I don't. And then I have this field for school memories. I could use this to uh, type information, type information about the school and her education and her friends. And I can, again, resize this text box so that it fits nicely. I don't actually have any information though. So instead of having information, what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag in some information about her actual school. Somebody had prepared this handout, and this is about the schoolhouse. And we are going to repurpose it because this is the schoolhouse that she would have attended. And we'll just include that here uh, on the page. And that way we have memories of the actual schoolhouse um, underneath her school photos. Now, going to education records, she attended a few different places. So I'm going to fill that in with information, and then I'm going to add images that go along with each place that she attended. Okay, now I dragged in the image of the old Carter School. I dragged in a report card, and I dragged in um, this program from a senior dance. Now, I could have, let me actually scoot this over a little bit. I could have found photos of the actual school buildings and then used those next to each of these schools. That might have been fun. I could have used images of a map showing where the school was located, and I could have used images of the student at different ages of her life. Like all of that would have been a lot of fun. I also, even though these frames are set here like this, I can resize them. You don't have to, but they are just sized that way to keep things even. If you wanted to change them around, feel free to. Now, that's just the way that I chose to do it. And if I wanted to, I could come back up here and I could include, a report card here, maybe make that smaller and tilt it a little bit, scooch this over, and just have some fun with this. I can make this look as formal or informal as I want to. And here's a photo of her in high school. So I could add that in as well. And again, you could play with frames, you could play with accents, whatever you want to do. But if we look at the grid view, now when we open to this page, we're going to have an image here or different images here of school and then an actual list of each of the schools that she attended. And that's just a sample of how you could fill in the school page and the education records page.